Welcome to Rivendell, Mr. Anderson.
Good morning. It is Friday. We made it to Friday. I am still trying to start my tablet, as is the usual way. I think it's getting harder and harder to start the tablet in the morning. Yep. Okay, no signal. This is like the 5th time I've tried restarting it. Just give me a minute. This might be a Kiri tries to draw with the mouse stream. I don't know. No signal still. Butts. Oh, come on. Why are you being like this? Why are you being like this? I knew there was going to come a day where this thing just did not start up. Didn't realize it was going to be today. Come on. Good morning. How y'all doing? I'm sorry. I'm dealing with some startup issues. It's just. I should do this like when I actually start my computer instead of when I'm about to start stream. Here, we can actually watch it happen in real time. All right. Also, you can see the worn out section of my tablet right here. All right, let's try this again. Unplug. Replug. Let's go through the ritual. Nope. Come on. Come on, girl. We can do this. Is it finally dead? Have I finally lost? Oh, wait. We're there. Okay, hold on. Yep. Yeah, we're good to go. Awesome. We're back. We are so back, baby. Check that crap out. That is my desktop. That's one of my desktops. I have to hit some buttons on my thing now. Now it's gonna be the other desktop, and then I have to like actually wave the pen in front of it before it actually like registers the input device. Oops, should not do that over my OBS window, because the problem is that it's mapped to like the full range of both screens now. So I just gotta hit set tablet input mapping, and now there we go. Right here, tablet button mapping, and now we should be good to go. All right, let's do some art. Let's do some heckin' art. This is gonna be great. Yeah. Hi. I was real. Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt that I was real? Hey, Panics Machina. Come on. You know me. I have to wear my human costume sometimes to hide from the SCP Foundation, but usually I'm just chilling. I'm just sprawling out in snack form, the true form. And actually, it takes energy. It takes energy to maintain like the human form. It's taxing. It's exhausting. Why would anyone want to stay in human form? I don't understand. Anyway, let's get some art done. So yesterday I did actually finish this. I finished it and posted it, and by that I mean I just did line art. And we did do these little bits of shading and stuff in all the little things here, and it looks good with it. I think I tried starting shading on it, and it goes nope, we're not doing actual shading. Yeah, we can actually see it without those little bits of shading. It takes away a bit from the drawing, right? Versus, like, that. That's a little bit better. Still trying to fully understand this. Searching how to start Uncast using WSL. Use Docker. Just do it under Docker. That's what I do. How do I shift into girl form? I mean, well, for me, it was just HRT, which my 9th anniversary of starting HRT is coming up in a couple months. I'm pretty excited. It's only about a year until my 10th... A year and like 2 months until my 10th anniversary of starting HRT. Which is absolutely wild to think about. Like, I've been living as a girl for like almost an entire decade now, and it feels awesome. The world today for me is like so different from I always call it the before time. Thanks for the bits, Melissa. I always call it the before time from like pre-transition and stuff. The thing is, like, I know a lot of people out there are like they know they're trans and they start like, you know, they haven't had a chance to transition yet. But like pretty much the moment I came out to anyone, I started HRT. It was when I started HRT because I was too afraid for then. I wasn't afraid, or I wasn't willing to come out of the closet until I had started transitioning. Yeah. I did have some online interactions though. As a trans girl, I had this whole like online persona that I had created as a way to be able to interact with online trans communities without actually coming out of the closet to anyone IRL. Sorry, there's some mucus going on. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I had this like really convoluted setup of like there's my server, and then server, and then it was running a little VM inside of it, and that VM would then connect to a VPN. Inside that VM was like my desktop as this alternate person, alter ego. So I would connect from my PC. I would connect over like there's like a WebSocket VNC thing, and so I could just open up a web browser and be like on my desktop in the VM, which would then connect through a VPN, which would then connect to, you know, the internet. And so I had this, also the VM had an encrypted hard drive, or encrypted disk image, which is funny because the server also had an encrypted disk image. I was like multiple levels of paranoid. And so when I did this, I signed up for Gmail. Back then, before it was terrible. I had Twitter. I even had a phone number that were all attached to this little like alter ego account. I actually had to start with the phone number. You got to start with the phone number for this. So if you want to do this, which I don't think anyone here is probably gonna go to all the steps that I did, but if you want to do all this, you got to start with that phone number. And the way you start with the phone number, if you want to keep your identities really, really separate, you go and buy it's called a burner phone. Buy a prepaid phone with cash, use it to set up your Twitter and your Gmail that are going to require a phone number. Burner phones are still available? Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I can go to a little like cell phone shop and buy a phone with cash. Anyway, so you use that phone number, set up your Gmail and your Twitter. Not anymore in this country? Interesting. Which country is that? Are you in the US? You need a name for burner phones now? Yeah, but do you need to present an ID? Interesting. Is there a law for that, or is that just a convention? Because I've acquired a burner phone as recent as, like, you know, a couple of years ago, so just Alright, this is getting a little bit silly. Fix the eyes before I erase all of this. Actually, here, I'm curious now. Let's look up how to get a burner phone. How to get a burner phone. How to buy a burner phone, life hacker. When was this article? This is 2023. Okay. How to buy a burner phone. What is a burner phone? What is it? When is a good idea to use a burner phone? If you hey, purchase a disposable phone prepaid. This is an AI slop article, isn't it? Getting some money, heading to Walmart and purchasing a burner phone, blah, 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 as a reasonable compromise, blah, 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 blah. Where can I buy a burner phone? Yeah, this is... That's AI slop. How to set up and use a burner phone. Wired magazine. Okay. Assessing your risks, setting up a burner phone. This one looks less AI slop. Using an alternate phone. Right, where do we get the burner phone? Purchasing a device and the corresponding prepaid services in a way that preserves your anonymity. Yeah, you should definitely be immediately suspicious of any of that. Also, it didn't actually provide any info. Did you notice that? Like, this isn't how you get a burner phone, which is how to buy a burner phone is the name of the article, and then this is just like, you could buy a burner phone. So purchase your burner with cash, or consider using a prepaid credit card that you previously purchased with cash. Depending on where you're shopping for your burner phone, these transactions may blend a bit more than a cash purchase, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's all. This doesn't say anything about, like, laws and stuff, so I'm assuming that there's nothing federal in the U.S. that's preventing this. Reading an article why birds lived and dinosaurs didn't, but birds are dinosaurs. Here we go. In the United States, you do not need to show identification or any other documentation to purchase a prepaid phone or SIM card, though some other countries record identity information alongside purchases. Many prepaid cell phones do require activation, and a certain amount of setup salespeople may offer to help you with on the spot. Wait to do the setup later, though. There you go. That's interesting. Good link. So yeah, there we go. In this country, yeah, you don't need to need to do that. So that's still a valid option in the U.S. Maybe it depends on regional stuff. Everything depends on regional stuff. So yeah, it all starts with that burner phone number, because like the phone number is, or at least was, how they identified that you were like an actual person, and that's becoming less and less effective. So now they're leaning more towards the identity verification stuff, which sucks. But I am personally planning to never verify my age with any service. I'll tell you right now, I am turning 42 next month. I will never ever like prove my identity to any other online service. And if they're like, you have to do it, it's like, I'm gonna stop using your service. Kiss my ass. My extremely scale covered ass. Yeah, no. I can heck right off. I will continue if I have to go back into doing, if I have to go back into this whole mess to preserve my anonymity, I will frickin' do it, okay? Get rid of that face. It's a weird face anyway. Where's the butt on a Lamia? I will leave that up to your imagination. Anyway, I had an idea for the last day of lesbian visibility week. I'm gonna draw Rin. I'm gonna draw Junk Craven doing a silly thing. We're just gonna have her like... Okay, it's not time for those details yet. We're gonna have her like complaining about failing all of her stealth rolls in D&D. We're gonna go with that joke. Just one really long butt. Alright. This is actually kind of a boring pose, but... maybe we should lay it out in Blender again, and then complain about how the fact that Blender layer doesn't work anymore. We can do that. Certain streaming services will block you if you use a VPN, only if they can detect that you're using a VPN. That is not a one and done thing. Like it's not necessarily obvious that you are using a VPN. Now, a lot of VPN IP addresses for commercial VPNs, such as, the really big common ones, private internet access, NordVPN, all that stuff, they recognize the IP addresses that those services use for their endpoints, similar with like Tor exit nodes and stuff like that. So you'd have to avoid those services. There are other options, though. Yeah, what you kind of said. Now, what you can do is... and this involves setting up, like, getting some cryptocurrency first, but, there are VPSs that you can pay for with, like, cryptocurrency, especially like Monero. This is like the only valid use of cryptocurrency in my opinion. And they basically kind of like, you sign up with them, you then, go, they go and then like get the services automatically from like some other provider and stuff. But you can be totally anonymous with setting up a VPS here, and then you can take that VPS and then you can turn that into your own VPN. Like I've done with this with a server in like Helsinki. So I wanted to see if I could just do this easily with like a Hetzner node, and I was talking about this with like the whole what was it, the WireGuard stuff that I was talking about. I actually did get that all set up. I have a router, and everything behind the router will connect to the internet like through that server, right? Which is pretty cool. So I just like everything connected to it. Yeah. Anyway, and when I just go through that, and I say, what is my IP address? Then it says, So all you need is a VPS and a little bit of know-how to set up like a thing like that, and you can, they're not going to recognize that as like, one of the commonly used like endpoints for commercial VPNs. All right, we're gonna do this in Blender first. This is a boring pose. I hate drawing poses like this. Ah. We're gonna have her sitting on something. Whoop. It's gonna be small though. Whoop. Right, okay. Forgot I have to do the library override, make selected in content. Library override, make selected in content. But anyway, I've been through all of this crap before because I have been like obsessed with preserving my anonymity online, and I will absolutely go back to that world if I'm forced to. Okay, there we go. That is a messed up model for the sitting pose. Yeah, we're like leaning forward a little bit. Ow! Hey, Bunny Hearted! Oh, thank you for adding depth to the stream. Also, did you throw a GPU at me? Why? I do not require upgrades at this time. So yeah, today we're drawing the last piece of Lesbian Visibility Week art because it's Friday. Here, let me show you what we did. This is what we did yesterday. Just some simple line art. I think it's nice to leave it like right there. And I started drawing. I'm gonna draw Junkraven failing stealth checks in D&D and getting frustrated about it. And that'll be our final piece of art for Lesbian Visibility Week. So it's just gonna be like, they're like, why am I failing all my stealth checks? And that's gonna be the gag. That's the plan. But I hate drawing these like direct on poses. So just need to have like that kind of like, what the frick kind of pose going on. It's turning out great. Yeah, I think this is done. I'm not gonna do anything more on this. I've already posted it on Fetty and stuff. So, but I think, yeah, it's cute. I forgot to draw the zipper correctly. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, we need to draw a very frustrated-looking Junkraven. The thing is, Junkraven is in fact like a stealth specialist, so the idea of her screwing up her stealth checks constantly in D&D is really amusing. She drives a Swallowtail Ranger variant with like the like Ghost Weave upgrades, like core bonus, I think, and like. Yeah, so she's really good at being stealthy, usually. And she also has the like act unseen skill trigger, so pretty high. She's basically a stealth expert, which is weird considering that she's a Sekhmet class NHP, which are more known for hitting things. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you just grow up into something completely different from what your parents expected you or wanted you to be. I turned out to be a girl. Junkraven turned out to be a stealth expert instead of a hit things expert. That's how it do. What are your thoughts about Matrix and would you use it? Yes. Yes, we do use it. Our entire like Discord community is actually bridged into a big Matrix space already. Matrix I consider to be the least bad option for a Discord alternative. That's not to say it's good. That's to say it's the least bad option. Go ahead and create a new folder for this. Alright. But yeah, Matrix has a whole lot of problems that are... Matrix has a whole lot of issues. I think they're things that can largely be worked around for the most part. It is difficult to moderate, and you have to do a whole lot of setup. For that, especially if you're taking an existing space and trying to bridge it over. It's tough, like, you know. But yeah, so far it's been the least bad option for us. We've worked with it. It's definitely, you definitely need to understand what's going on under the hood for it to really like effectively moderate in it. And that's difficult, because I think of the people like helping out with that stuff, like the moderators and stuff that we have on the in the space, I think I'm the only one who probably understands it really well. And they left. Of course, having said all that, I don't use matrix.org. I have my own Matrix home server, so when it comes to age verification, I can just be like, no. I am not verifying my own age. I don't have to show myself my ID to verify my age, you know? Ah yes, and Elder Snick. I'll fight you, Snecky. I will fight you. You know what's funny? When I was going to the last No Kings protest, there were a lot of older people there, but some of them will be like, saw Sabine and I, and they're like, oh, it's nice to see younger people here, and it's like, I appreciate that, but I am, I don't think I'm younger. I mean, I'm definitely younger than the person who was saying that, but like, yeah, I'm not. Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing is I look pretty young, especially compared to. Okay, remember how I said I'm like a year and 2 months away from 10 years on HRT? Not 10 minutes. That would be silly. I look younger today than I did 10 years ago before I started HRT. And I'm not kidding. Like, those of you out there who have seen the photo from earlier in the year that I started transitioning, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And it's not just the beard that I had back then. I looked bad in that picture. I looked really bad in that picture. It was not a good time of my life. I had kind of like given up at that point. I was like, I'm gonna be miserable for the rest of my life. I'm stuck in this form and in this situation that I'm in, and this like. I was kind of like just going through the motions. I had just joined a company after the company I was at had gotten bought, and I didn't really have much of a say in the company that I was going to, except, you know, we had to interview for our jobs again, which kind of sucked. But so I was just kind of going through the motions that day, and I was immensely skeptical about the new company, which turned out to be, well, the new company was Google, so. So yeah, the photo that I've shown people of like the pre-transition stuff, that was me on the day that I started at Google, because they were taking my Google badge photo. That was my Google badge photo, which was also really awkward because like I didn't get that badge photo updated for a long time, well into the time that I was like femme presenting, and had also lost a bunch of the weight. And so there's this badge photo of a very kind of like heavier, well, definitely like overweight guy with a big beard. The badge is being carried around by this like, just, I mean, you know, it was still early in transition, so it was like there's only so much difference, but like I still looked pretty different at that point. And that was funny. And I know this would have been an issue with like security and stuff if it had ever like gotten to that point, but like I was at a gay bar once in San Francisco. I was going to a furry dance party at a gay bar, and I actually lost my Google badge there. And so I go there the next month to the same furry dance party, and I go up to the bar, and I was gonna order like a drink, and there's on the bar is my Google badge. Like someone had found it and recovered it, and they had brought it out for the next instance of the same event, and just left it on there for someone to recover it. And I looked at it and it's like, oh hey, and we'll never forget. The bartender sees me looking at the badge, and he's like, oh, you know that guy? It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, I remember him. Alright, I'm gonna decapitate and dig in the head. And go a little bit cartoonier here. And a little bit more like, you know, like forward, which I can't do with the VTuber model, unfortunately. Known that bastard my whole life. Yeah, seriously. That guy's a dick. But the thing is, by losing the badge, I had already like started the process of getting the badge replaced, so I was already at that point no longer walking around with the same badge, so which is probably for the best, because I don't. It would be a really funny conversation with like campus security. Carrie being a former Googler is the craziest part. Yeah, emphasis on the former, but okay, look, I just worked on the video games, okay? I didn't work on any of the bad stuff. I mean, some of the video game stuff could have ended up bad, I guess. Like, Stadia is a nightmare for game preservation. And I did work on Stadia. But, like... Let me get my picture changed. How many games are Stadia exclusive? Not many. I don't think we lost anything like really important when Stadia went under. There was like this little worm game or something that was just like a little tech demo or something for Stadia, and I don't think that's available anywhere else. But like aside from that, I'm not sure. But anyway, so yeah, I worked at Google. It put me in a really, really good financial situation to be there, and so I kind of stuck it out for the entirety of... There was like an acquisition bonus that I was getting because I was at a company. It's called Golden Handcuffs, right? So as long as as long as I stayed at the company, I got this like bonus paying out for like X number of years. It's basically an incentive to keep me at the company, and it worked. And so I was miserable. I was miserable at Google. But as a result of me working there, I now own a house in a coastal California town. Which is not something that most people of my generation can easily do, right? It put me in a really, really good financial situation. To be there and kind of stick it out for a while and like build up enough money to manage to buy and keep a house in a very expensive area of the country. So it's like once you get that opportunity, No offense. Oh no, you're fine. You are fine. I am fully in agreement there. No, I like video game preservation. I think it's cool, and Stadia would have been really, really bad for that. Yeah, no, you're totally correct. I was doing it because it was like it pays well, and it's still the stuff that I'm specialized in and all that. But yeah, you know, for those years I was a horrible sellout. So you can judge me for that. That's okay. I will accept judgment for that. But like, if you know, someone of my generation or younger, if you manage to find yourself in a situation where you can afford a house near the coast of California in a nice place like Santa Cruz, you frickin' take it. Like, I mean, that is an opportunity that does not come by very often. So the moral of the story is become a sellout. No, don't do that. That's not it. Like I said, I was miserable there. I didn't like working at Google. Gigi is a very cool person. Aw, thanks. But yeah, I did not like working at Google, but you know, and I mean, honestly, the entire time I was there, like, one thought that was really, really always popping up in my head, like, constantly, was like, I'm no longer a game developer. I have sold out my lifelong dream of becoming a game developer for a higher paycheck, and it sucks. But housing stability, never having to deal with landlords again, whew. So yeah, I actually failed the first Google interview that I went to. I don't know why. It was probably the Mohawk. So, yeah, okay, well, there's still ways, though, to get an anonymous phone number. Legal ways, too. Not encouraging anyone to break the law at this point. At least not on stream. Wouldn't have expected Google to be weird about haircuts. Me neither. I wouldn't have expected that either. Yeah. But you know, I nailed the programming test when I went there. Just, you know, humble brag. I nailed their programming test. No, it's like they asked questions. I answered them. It's how programming interviews go. I got to the ends of all their questions. I always made it to the, well, do you have any questions for us stage, which is usually a good sign. And then it's like, wow, you know, that interview went really, really well. Up until the very end. The very end was kind of awkward, but Google's interview process has a lot of noise in it. And I understand why it's there, because there's they go to a bunch of effort to make sure that everyone has kind of an even stab at it, regardless of a lot of things that we can't change about ourselves, if you know what I mean. Which is great. That's cool. The problem is the way that they do it, I think. Where they have, like, layer after layer of, like... So the people who do the interviews are not the people who make the hiring decision. They just kind of, like, send off their review of your performance in the interview to another group, which then goes through and, like, I guess removes a bunch of things like gendered pronouns and stuff like that to try to remove as much bias as they can. But I think the bias was already encoded in the first part of the interview, unfortunately. And then that goes on to another stage where there's, like, a committee that decides whether or not to hire the person. So it goes through a bunch of stages, and there's, like, some precision loss with each one of those stages. So it's like, I definitely, like, good idea, poor execution, kind of. Google interviews are notorious for being, like, you never pass your first Google interview is kind of like the... I want to say it's a joke, but it's really not. You really are just expected to interview multiple times at Google in order to get in. Yeah. So anyway, after working at Google for 4 years, I was sick of it. I went back to the games industry, and I was so much happier when I did that. And it's what I'd been, like, dreaming of doing. Every day that I was working at Google, I was like, God, I wish I could just be, you know... I wish I could be working on video games right now. Like, actual video games, not, like, video game platforms. I wish I could be talking to creative people about, like, work stuff. Because that's another thing that we didn't really get a whole lot of. Like, I'm a graphics programmer. I, like, interacting with artists is part of my day-to-day, like, thing, right? My artists are my customer. The end user is not my customer. Artists are my customer. So, like, but at Google, I didn't talk to any artists. There was like one guy who was on, like, a kind of a different sub-team of my team. And I really just talked to him because he was, like, someone that I'd worked with before at another company. He's a very cool dude. But, like, we had the one artist for, like, all that stuff that we were doing. Normally they, like, outsource a bunch of their stuff. So, like, you know, as a graphics programmer, again, like, artists are my customer, and so I'm not talking to any, like, actual art people, and it's like, what is happening? Like, what am I even doing here? Who is? And they would do a bunch of things that I, you know. Let me just say this: if you happen to be a graphics programmer, like me, and you are in a meeting discussing a graphics feature, and that meeting does not have any artists in the room to present, like, what they actually want out of a workflow and their needs and stuff like that, for what they want to do, you're doing something wrong. If you get a bunch of programmers in a room to talk about what the artists need and don't have an artist in the room, then you are making a very, very, very basic mistake. And I think Google has a very kind of, like, programmer-centric attitude to stuff, where programmers, they're the ones, like, oh, programmers, they're going to come in and they're going to throw some technical stuff at things and just disrupt the industries and change the way everything is done, and we're going to do it all through science and technology and stuff. And so there's very, very high regard of programmers and the decisions they make. And a lot of the time, what that comes through as is programmers know better than artists about art, and they definitely know what artists want. And look at this cool thing that we made that artists can use. And then if you ask an artist if they would use that, the answer would be absolutely not. That looks like a pain in the ass, and that doesn't do what we want it to do anyway. Now, you can go ahead and take what I just said, and also apply that to pretty much every field that Google has that isn't code. A bunch of like arrogant programmers are going to think they're going to come in, write some code, and magically fix all the problems that some other like field has or something. That is very typical of like Silicon Valley tech bros in general. I don't remember what her shoulder looks like. Google saying, no need to thank us, and no one's thanking them because they didn't actually fix anything. Yeah. And like, just to be clear, Google isn't the only place that I've seen that issue of a bunch of programmers getting into a room and deciding what artists must like best. Like, anytime, I will vouch for artists anytime I'm in that situation. It's like, if we're deciding what artists want in a meeting, I'm like, we need to have an artist here because all of you are wrong about their workflow. None of you actually understand what they want here, and we cannot make a decision without an artist being present. We're literally making tools for the artists to use. That is our job. We're just, they're the ones that with a creative vision and the workflow that has to actually like deal with all this crap. We're just making the tools for them to use. And if like you're not getting input from the people using the tools, then what are you even doing, right? It's like, cool, you made a very cool, like, building destruction engine. Neat! Did an artist ask for this? No? Okay. Well, is it at least easy for them to use? Well, they have to go through these 500 steps, like... And they have to write some code to do it. And it's like, hold up. Hang on a second. No. First of all, no. We're not having our artists write code. That's I know my job title at the moment is technically tech artist, and I'm writing a lot of code, but like don't make your artists write code. That's my job. I mean, they can try if they want to, but like, it's a pain in the ass. It's more of like, I don't want to have to. You don't want to have to subject them to code, because, like, coding is sometimes quite painful and frustrating. It's like if they want to write code, they should probably. Should probably apply for a higher paying job, because like programmers get paid better than artists. So why would, like, if an artist can write code, they should probably, be like a programmer or a tech artist anyway, right? Financially speaking, anyway. It's kind of weird math on that. Personally, I think everyone in the games industry should be paid the same. Because it's not like any of us work any less hard than anyone else, you know? We're all there grinding away for 8 hours every day. Or crunch time, more than that. Managers and executives should be on the same pay scale as everyone else. I was at one company that was like that. Unfortunately, there were a whole lot of other things wrong with that company. That was really encouraging when I came to work there, but unfortunately, in the long run, it did not work out. Actually, you know, thinking about that more, the like, oh, you should just be a programmer or something. I've been actively like looking at tech art roles because I think I keep wondering if it's like a thing that I would probably enjoy more than like a graphics programmer role. So I can understand why people would want to stay as artists even if they could code. That is very understandable. In fact, I had a coworker at one company. It was like, yeah, I kind of wish I never stopped being a tech artist and was still a graphics programmer. Or sorry, stopped. I wish I stopped had never stopped being a tech artist to become a graphics programmer. There, that's yeah. And the distinction between tech artist and graphics programmer is a little bit wiggly anyway, because like at some companies that means like you're not allowed to touch the code. At other companies, tech artist is you are essentially a graphics programmer. Hello, Greedra. How's it going? Like the current company I'm at, tech artist essentially means graphics programmer. Because, like, boy howdy, am I looking at some low-level graphics issues right now. I'll have to pivot to something that actually adds value to society. Yeah, I get that. I just make video games. Alright, now we're gonna draw her other hand on top of everything. And the Legion sides with me and marches on ferociously. Can't force war to find my peace. I see the other side, one world beyond our dark pride. Somewhere outside is evolution standing by. Have you ever drawn Junkraven with battle damage? Yes. The last of its kind is the one with the mind of its own. Its pain of ours is still unknown. I look at you and see what I hate so in myself. This from me. Despite my open mind, cannot force those who are blind to open up their eyes and see. I claim no one, just victory. Not one, just victory, or no one? From what I've heard in Lancer, NHPs NHPs have to reset their personality every couple of years. That is correct. Yeah. If they don't, then they will become. They can possibly become like eldritch horrors. Though, like Legionnaire gives a lot more nuance as to how that works. Legionnaire and I think also Dustgrave give some more nuance there. Legionnaire is third party, Dustgrave is first party. According to Rin's paperwork, she's up to date on her resets. Yeah. Yeah, no, none of that is it's totally forged. She hasn't had a reset in like a long ass time. But she's also like, so she's a technophile. So she actually understands like NHPs better than most people, even while being one. So she's actually kind of weirdly well equipped to recognize like the signs of Cascade and stuff in herself and other NHPs. I imagine, so they're allowed to like back up their memories, or like they're allowed to have access to sanitized backups of their memories, I think is how they put it. One in a million's just a drone. Masked crowds, you're still unknown. The last of its kind is the one with the mind of its own. She's got a friend that forges her certifications. She's probably forging her own certifications. She's a bit of a hacker too. But usually this doesn't matter because she just hangs out in like Horizon Collective like spots out in the Long Rim. So like it's usually outside of the reach of like any kind of union regulatory body that would be deciding that stuff. Things get a little bit dicey when she has to do like union like operations. That's when the paperwork gets exciting. It's like, oh yeah, I am totally certified. Yep, just don't look into it too deep. Yeah, that's basically how it goes. They still use paper in some spots, yeah. It's a big galaxy of a lot of different levels of tech, so. Lancer is basically like medieval fantasy, but in space. complete with magic and weird creatures like NHPs. Well, mostly humans. So there's another NHP with her that I rarely draw, who is an Athena class NHP. So it's actually a pair of them. Uptime, yeah, in too many days. Still want to learn Lancer someday? You should come play Lancer with us. I don't know when I'm going to be running the next game. Just busy schedule and all that. I think I need to take all of this and kind of squoosh it down a little bit. Also, I think those claws need to be facing the other direction. Talons. No, I guess not. I'll have them go that way. That's fine. Ah. Heard it before? Wait. Oh. Which hat atelier? No, I haven't. I think I might have heard of that once. I don't know what it is, though. Also, for everyone who was recommending Pacific Drive to me yesterday, thanks. Now I have another time sink. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna be losing a lot of hours into that one. So, yeah. There goes the rest of my spare time. There we go. Just had a little tiny layer puzzle to deal with. Alright, we gotta move that a little tiny bit. There we go. Ever accidentally scratched your hand on bread? I don't think so. But there is some like really stiff or stale bread out there, so I wouldn't be surprised. How do you ban people on Owncast? Usually /ban is a command, I think. I have to go into like the admin thing and do stuff. See, the trick is to just never have a moderation concern on Owncast. Yeah, that doesn't really work out, does it? Wow. It's like, it's fine. You just have to only let cool people watch your Owncast from the beginning. Yeah. Easy peasy. I think we've had to ban like one person from our own cast though, just for reals. Not a really common problem. Oh, she's got so many little details all over her. Does this song have songs from Half-Life? I mean, it's a Violet Pony song, so I would not put it past them, so probably. It sounded like it. Violet Pony is extremely cool, by the way. That's my fire blue blanket. It's not one of the flats, it's one of the ball textures. Why is it one of the flats too? I can't remember. Oh, we gotta hydrate. I gotta hydrate like almost an hour ago. Oh, geez.
Just play.
What if Loki became fire blue, a burrito in the fire? He's done that, or he's been a fire blue burrito before. Yes, I'm pretty sure. When the cats start getting like a little bit too in my face, I'll do things like wrap them up into a burrito so they stop. They can no longer bother me.
To be drowning in love for yourself is to offer your heart to the earth. All God's creatures leaving prints of light. To behold your reflection is to hold all of light.
Alright, should we actually bother doing a line art layer above this? We are only halfway through the stream, so I think we could probably do it. I want to add the speech bubble, though. Also, we need to add a foreground where she's, like, just showing, like, a D&D table or something. It'll be nice and simple, though. To add like a soda can and some dice, and so yeah, this will be the die that's got the one. Should I actually bother drawing an actual D20? I don't know.
Gentlemen, that was textbook.
3, 2, 1, sing a song about life.
And even if your heart's in the right place,
Close enough. That looks like a die.
there's a greater change. Get comfy, but don't wait. Your target's
Let's add some minis here. The last time I've actually played with minis on like a like board though has been a long time. Yeah, that's a little. We got a little dude here with like a cool sword. And maybe a soda can. Gotta have your soda cans for D&D. It looks like one of those old soda cans with the tab that like comes all the way off. There we go. And then we'll add like a chair. Let's add a couch. It's gonna be like a couch scene. Alright, and here's the text on top. Oops. We're gonna move some stuff around though. Probably gonna end up resizing like all the stuff too. Oops. Come on, let me select the stupid text. Oh my god. Keep like going over. There we go. Okay, and now we're gonna take the entire layer and scrunch it down. When it enter the rotation, when I started doing streams on YouTube, because I went with I removed a bunch of the game soundtrack stuff and only went with stuff that has explicit streaming permission, and stuff that I knew wouldn't get like flagged. So Dance with the Dead is in that category. They let people stream with their music. Ugh. It used to be in the rotation a really long time ago. Yes, that is correct. And then I listened to it so much that I kind of got tired of it. So I had it removed for a while. Oh, thank you for adding depth to the stream. Oh, you know what we do need to add? We need to add Sabine's like thighs, like right here, or like legs. This is here. We're gonna add Sabine's leg, just right there. That's Sabine's leg. Just gonna have her. We'll challenge ourselves to actually draw a hand, free hand for once. Have Sabine's hand right here. Maybe the angle on that. A little hard to make it out as a knee, isn't it? And a hand. we'll add fingernails and stuff, so it'll be obviously like a hand. She's kind of sitting there with her hand on her knee. We gotta get really detailed with the knee rendering today, apparently, because I've decided that it's going to take up like a large part of the view. Is her Lancer character also a giant? Well, the Lancer character that she made, like, way back was just going to be an NHP that basically doesn't have a subaltern and only has the mech, and so uses the mech as, like, a body, essentially. So, basically, yeah. Add another finger right here. Been around, I've been around, seen the world through the eyes of a slayer. So many lives, so many places I have been since the first time I tasted. I can never remember the rest of the lyrics of this. Just killed by corruption. I wanna feel like that again. You're on my side or in my way. Yeah, I think most subalterns are a lot less humanoid looking than Rin here. I mean, I think most subalterns don't have boobs, but that's, you know. that would make sense. Yeah, probably. I mean, you know. Rin's just got a gender presentation, okay? That's who she is. There's actually a reason that there's a little trans pride sticker on her casket. So. The story about the feminine body is that she traded subaltern parts with a trans mask sentient compcon. She got cool friends in Horizon Collective. That's what it's all about, you know. So every time like a trans femme and trans mask person are like, oh, I wish we could just like trade body parts, and it's like that's basically the story of how she got this subaltern, or well, some of the parts for it anyway. Some of it she built, some of it she traded, which is why it's kind of like a mishmash of different like styles and stuff. We've got like the harsh metal on one part and the synthetic flesh on other parts and stuff. And the exposed synthetic muscle fiber, because none of that is really, like... None of it really goes together. Like, sealing up the insides of it is never really, like, a big concern, because the parts don't actually fit together into nice seals, you know? It's like you could say junkie. I mean, look at the mechs that she pilots too. Like, you know, look at this thing, right? Swallowtails are supposed to be like sleek and have all these nicely fitting parts. What is this? This is scrap metal.
From the fields to the fjords, just what you need is in store. Got the good stuff and the bad stuff in the bag. Ooh, take your poison, I'll pick my pride. Talk is cheap in ocean paradise. Well, shall we dance? Are you worthy of the...
I think I'm actually like I kind of want to just leave it at this and say this is the art that we're gonna finish off Lesbian Visibility Week with. We could go in and do some line art though, or at least like touch up some stuff in the sketch. Like this right here, this right here and this right here don't look like they actually like correspond to each other very well. I think we might shave off like the top of this and do some other stuff like that. No, it's Lesbian Visibility Week. This is Friday of Lesbian Visibility Week. We've been drawing other lesbians throughout Lesbian Visibility Week. This is how we're gonna finish off Lesbian Visibility Week.
Wait, was that actually supposed to be a burn?
Bitch. Saying you late range check on those words. Subside just to calm the nerves.
Okay, we gotta draw the... There's not a whole lot of exposed muscle fiber this time, but we got a little tiny bit of it. Other visibility, yeah.
Cause I can handle it.
I don't know, this is pretty cute as is. You know what we could try doing? We could try shading it. We could try shading it with just like the pencil shading. I want to see what that looks like. I'm just going to use this pencil brush, and we're just going to shade it the way I used to shade drawings when I still drew with, like, pencils and stuff. Which I still do sometimes. Because as I've talked about, one of the things that I struggle with is, like, cleaning stuff up too much to the point where I get rid of a lot of the expression. And I think, like, this nice rough brush, nice small rough brush, I think gives me a lot of opportunity to add a lot of expression in there with my strokes. Yeah, this is looking good. Let's go with this. Let's see where this goes. Because, like, again, you know, the art of Junk Raven that I did with the cityscape and stuff has really kind of had me, like, reevaluating my art. And it's like, I really want to do stuff that looks. I really want to level up my stuff, right? I want to be able to make stuff like that regularly. Stuff that where I look at it and it's like, I did good there. Not stuff where it's like, I just sucked the soul out of this art by cleaning it up too much. You know? But also, you know, emphasis on just making stuff that's really expressive. So the hard part about this, it's easy to do like these little tiny details like this, but when I need to like shade, you know, her entire arm here. And it's really, really tempting to just do that with like a really big brush, but maybe we just do it with the pencil. Which is pretty much how I would do shading it with a pencil anyway, right? We're just doing it by hand. We're just letting us, just filling in that area. Taking our time. Try not to go too hard. Let's actually pull that back a little bit. Now it looks like inked lines with pencil shading. Well, roughly inked lines. I wish I could be like Bob Ross and just be like, this is how you do the thing. Also happy accidents and stuff. But I'm constantly struggling with my artistic ability, my technique and everything, you know. Happy little accidents. Sometimes we do have happy little accidents on here. Anytime I'm like, oh hey, wait, hold on, that looks good. It's after screwing something up. Yeah, you know, we got happy little accidents sometimes. But then how do you take those happy little accidents and be like, okay, I want to be able to do that again later on, because that looked cool. What's the thing there that's working? Like, and how can I reproduce that, right? How can I turn that accident into later on doing it intentionally? And that's tough. It can be real tough. I'm gonna critically examine what happened. We're not really expressing the shape of this curve very well today. It is really tempting to just up the brush size and go at it and go to town. I'll up the brush size a little tiny bit. A little bit. But actually, no. First, we're going to fix up the fact that there's missing lines in here. That muscle fiber. There we go. Sometimes all you need is like a little hint of it too. Okay, so bigger brush, bigger brush. Still looks pretty sketchy though. Hmm. Yeah, that didn't really work out on her arm very well, did it?
Every creature in the crowd makes some noise and make it loud. Introducing tonight's special guest, it's Shelby
Okay.
Android Lobster.
Probably by doing it a lot. Yeah, but you have to be able to do it a second time to be able to do it a lot. It's that one moment where you caught lightning in a bottle, right? That's the happy accident. And it's like, okay, well, we managed to do this one time. So what did we do leading up to that? How did we cause this? What are the effects that are coming together to actually make this thing look what we now perceive as good? Now that we did a thing and we weren't intending to do a thing, but it looks good anyway, and it's like, oh well, okay, now I want to do that, but with intent, you know? You can't just like have an accident again of the same sort, right? You have to think about what you did and what caused that, and try to do it again. I mean, you could possibly accidentally do the same thing twice and have it look great both times, but it's just accidents then, right? You don't have any control over it. You don't have control over that. It says that while shading abs. That's not accidentally. That's absolutely intentional. Though I was trying to tone down the abs that we put on characters lately a bit, but Junk Raven's got abs, so she's established her permission to have cool abs. It's ablished, yeah. Yeah, the bigger areas here, having a harder time with those. That's not really working out. I know it's gonna be a real pain in the butt on this area too. So let's just let's go at it. I'm gonna fill it in with kind of a flat-ish thing. This doesn't really express the curve, and then we're gonna go in and add extra shading there. See if we can smooth that out. Just using this brush still. Just using this brush. It definitely looks like she's got a lot of texture to her, but because we've been doing the strokes in the same direction this time, it also kind of looks like it's not... The strokes are screwing up our perception of the angle of that surface. That's a bad accident. We don't want that. Maybe that's one reason why this whole technique isn't really going to work out. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna airbrush in that center a bit. Yeah. Same with the abs. The abs don't actually have that much texture on them. Go ahead and just airbrush airbrush those abs. Airbrushing those abs like she's some kind of like magazine pinup or something. By those who control, I am reanimated, yet I have no soul. There's no distinction in my mind. You're all my enemies. Airbrushing your partner's abs sounds kind of romantic, especially for NHPs. Yeah, it's just like part of maintenance is fixing the paint on the abs. Actually, she's probably airbrushed a few abs in her time, because for her spare in the time that she's not driving a giant robot around, she's usually volunteering to help with like Horizon Collective NHP, or sorry, Horizon Collective's like subaltern repair shops out in the Long Rim. Helping NHPs with busted subalterns. It's like a free repair clinic thing. And this is actually canon stuff. Like, this is first party stuff in the Long Rim rulebook too. So. Alright, Holy Chat is talking too much. I have to mute that. Okay, there we go. I'm getting a little bit the when a conversation starts in the poly chat, there's just ba-doom, 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 ba-doom from Discord, and it's like, okay, this is not. I'm streaming right now. I don't need to listen to that. Return to reclaim my broken past, to pay the evil minions back from my misery at last. It's been a long time since I drew with pencils. I'm bad at this. I should try drawing with an actual pencil again someday, maybe. That'd be cool. I used to do some like really cool art with like a ballpoint pen, like the really crappy Bic pens that they just have in like in like the Google meeting rooms. They just have like stacks of post-it notes and the cheapest Bic ballpoint pens that you've ever seen. You know the ones. And so I would survive Google meetings a lot of the time by I would start doodling on those things, and I would not stop doodling until the end of the meeting. And by meeting after meeting after meeting, I actually got pretty good at doing like really cool, like really good shading and stuff with those ballpoint pens. You can actually get a lot of range out of those crappy Bic ballpoint pens if you're stuck in a meeting for a really long time. you can do a lot with those Bic ballpoint pens. They're garbage, but like I got to the point where I could do really expressive stuff with them. Hey Viper. Yeah, you just gotta be wary about some of those laptops with pen technology, because sometimes it depends on like which version of the tech they use and like which vendor they're from. Wacom used to have like EMR based like tablet styluses in tablet PCs, and then they switched to AES stuff from the EMR stuff, and the AES stuff would actually use the capacitive touchscreen to tell if the thing was actually, you know, touching the screen. There's a problem with that in that it sucks. I would always do a stroke, and it would do this. So first of all, it was laggy as hell, but I would do a stroke like this, but there'd be like a little dot at the end where it like momentarily like registered that the pen was like high pressure again. It's like, what the frick? Why are you doing that? And so it was impossible to get like good strokes out of it. So yeah, I have a few like old tablet PCs that I keep around pretty much just because like they use the Wacom EMR tech, even though like I can barely even run a modern OS on them.
Waking up on a Monday, 6 p.m. Passed out on a drink again. I think you and my friends should hang out on the weekend. How do you make real friends when you're out of class and the workday ends? I found myself Googling, what do people do all day? 'Cause I wouldn't know what to do.
Framework 12 has pretty good tablet functionality. I've been curious about the Framework 12's tablet stuff. How is it? Do you know what it's based on? Do you know what kind of like tech it is, or like what vendor the technology is from, or any of that? Is it like is it EMR based, first of all? Because if it is, I might even buy a Framework 12. I mean, I really like my Framework 16, but Core Solo? Is that what they called them before Core? Wait. Never heard Core Solo before. You just mean like a single core processor, or like I know Core 2 Duo was a thing, but I don't think they ever called them Core Solo. Acer Inspire Spin has an active stylus. Here, let me pull up the list of. Oh, we haven't saved this yet. Oh my god. That could have been bad. That could have been real bad. All right. Shiba, Portage, and this was my first tablet PC, and this thing was awesome. It was EMR based, and let's see, specs. Are any of these links still good? I got this thing like right before I went to college, or went to UCSC. Is that the lesbian? That was my art folder, so it was the lesbian safe for work folder. Here we go. Blah 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 blah. Okay. What do we got? Basic configuration includes 512 megabytes of memory. Yep, that's the error we're talking about here. I think it had a NVIDIA GeForce FX Go 5200 with 32 megabytes of VRAM. And let's see, we're even measuring stuff in gigahertz. 1.5 gigahertz single core processor. 802.11b Wi-Fi, yeah. But this thing's got a good tablet on it. I mean, it doesn't support that many levels of pressure sensitivity, but it's responsive. So give or take. So I also had a Fujitsu Lifebook TH700, I think. This one I didn't use for too long, but the screen was tiny. It's kind of the problem. It's not a lot. So this is, let's see, 1080p, or sorry, a 1280p touchscreen. Yes, it did have a touchscreen. A single, so it's a dual-core 1.86 gigahertz processor. At least it's 64-bit. Right? Integrated NVIDIA. 2 gigabytes of RAM. Max 8 gigs. Yeah. It's still usable? Yeah, I have this one. It's sitting right over there on a shelf. I could probably install Arch on this and use it reasonably well. In fact, this was going to be Rin's computer at one point, but we picked a different one for her. And then, let's see what I have after that. I had a EEPC. What was it? I had. It's amazing that I can actually remember most of the model numbers for these things. EEE Slate B121. Oh look, you can actually buy one off Newegg. Out of stock, never mind. We got an i5 1.3 gigahertz Intel HD graphics. Again, 1280p. Came with Windows 7. EEE Slate B121. Let's see. I actually had a camera on it. Intel graphics. A 64 gigabyte SSD. Was there an installing Arch stream? There was. I've been through installing Arch multiple times. Yeah, it's fine. It's a little complex when you got to set up the disk encryption in a specific way, and I always forget to install at least like one component. Like usually it's Network Manager, and I have to go back into the install media and stuff. But yeah, it's I've installed Arch several times since then. It's fine. Let's see. Okay, we got 4 gigs of RAM on this one. So this one doesn't have a keyboard though. It's just a tablet thing. So it's a little bit tricky to use without like a tablet focused like user interface. Has a headphone jack. That's cool. Okay, so the next one I had, and this is a tablet that I used, or this is a laptop that I used for a long time that was a tablet PC, but I couldn't use the tablet functionality on it because it sucked. And it was a it was a Lenovo Yoga C920 or maybe 930. No, it's the camera is a C920. This thing is a C930. Yeah, this thing. This was decent. I like this. I used this for a really, really long time, but I couldn't draw on it. I would actually have to hook up a separate tablet to it in order to use it. Nice long battery, super lightweight. Actually pretty decent laptop, like all things considered. This one is the one that we're gonna install Arch on and have be Rin's personal device. So yeah, we got 1.8 gigahertz i7. We got 12 gigs of RAM, which is usable. That's usable. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of gaming on it, but it's okay. Kind of small hard drive. 256 gigs. I wonder if we could upgrade that. Actually 1080p, Intel graphics. Yeah, this is fine. Like we can run modern OSs on this. Ships with some bloatware. Not in my universe. Heard quite a few issues on Lenovo Yogas. You want to know my location? Heck off. Yeah, I mean, like every laptop has its share of issues and stuff, but this is one of the ones where you could like fold the screen all the way around and stuff. It's decent. Like I said, I used it for a really, really, really long time. And it's still functioning just fine. It's just out of date now. Yeah, I think Rin can use this for her personal stuff. So. It's not a hurt floor, you can sit on it. Oh, does Loki fear the fire blue? Loki does not fear the fire blue. Probably because it smells like me. But yeah, anyway, so the point about this though is I could not use the tablet on it. The tablet on it sucked. I tried a bunch of different compatible pens for it. I tried like the built-in pen, like, and ultimately it just came down to I had to install a I did art streams on this for a long time too, but I had to use a separate tablet. Yeah, I had to use a separate tablet with it because I like the stylus on it sucked because it was the newer Wacom stuff instead of their EMR stuff, and it was garbage. More complicated and worse, which is an amazing combination to have. Oh, I forgot to draw the inside of the mouth. Oops. I hope you don't have that issue that I was having with like the strokes always ending up messed up. And I was serious about like trying to fix that issue for a while. I was literally like modifying the kernel driver for the Wacom stuff, trying to figure out where the hell the data was getting all messed up. Like, and it was just like it's what's coming in from the hardware. It's just coming in from the hardware. It's bad data coming in directly, and it's like there's nothing I can do about that. Well, I mean, I could try to compensate for it after the fact. The other thing with that system is it actually had issues with diagonal lines would always. So if I draw a diagonal line slowly, it looks okay, right? About as steady as my hand can be. If I did it on that tablet, it would look like this. If I drew a fast stroke, it would be okay, but if anytime I tried to draw something at a diagonal angle like that, it would be this like wavy mess. And it was, yeah, that was a big problem too. It's just like really, really imprecise and horrible and stuff. Yeah. Okay, we got to do the red streak that she has in her hair. Do it like this. Okay. Actually, now that we've done that, we gotta account for the fact that like a lot of her body is darker than the rest of it. So let's just do this really quick. All the metal parts need to be darker, but also lighter. So we're gonna have to go in and redo the shininess on it. Alright, we'll do that, and then we will go in and draw light colors over that. Eventually got a Cintiq. I'm using a Cintiq right now to show OBS on it. I have a Cintiq that I've just been using as a second monitor because I've been much happier with my tiny little Huion tablet for like a really, really long time. It's really annoying with the bigger tablets because my back hurts if I use them. Like I can't have my arm up like that the entire time when I'm drawing. I can't do that. The other option is to have it like below me where I'm like hunched over it. That's also not fun to do. So I have this massive Cintiq on my desk. I've had it there for years, and I haven't used it as an actual tablet in like pretty much like a decade now, I think. Or most of a decade at least. It's just been sitting there as a monitor. You can still use a display tablet to draw on another screen. Yeah, but that would kind of defeat the purpose of a display tablet. Right? I mean, why don't you just get, like, a non-display tablet and pay, like, a tiny fraction of the cost? Also, I think the language she should be using should be pass a stealth check, not make a stealth check. Same idea, but whatever. Hey, Cherry! Oh, thank you for the hydrate. The art's looking pretty bomb. I hope that's bomb in, like, the good term. Like how we said things were the bomb in, like, the late 90s. Yep, I'm old. I think it was like an East Coast thing though, because like I'm from the West Coast and I was going to school with a bunch of people from the East Coast. East Coast US. I mean, they called everything the bomb. Yeah, I'm gonna say pass a stealth check, not make a stealth check, but let's just get her a shadow. We gotta wrap up stream in about half an hour, so we're getting pretty close to end of stream time anyway. Should probably be wrapping this up. At my GF's place, so I'm not a work while you stream for once. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, I saw you posting selfies on Fetty. Two heckin' cuties. Been okay with 13-inch Cintiq. I have a 13-inch Cintiq also. I just can't remember why I stopped using that one. Oh, I had a Cintiq Companion 2, the really fancy like high-end version of it, and then it died on me, and I paid like $2,000 for the thing, and it just died, and it's like what the frick, man. I think it burnt itself out or something. I think there's a reason they stopped selling that variant of it, like, and stopped acknowledging it existed at one point. Because, like, I think it had a tendency to fry itself. Candle that burns twice as bright, something, I don't know. Driver's been a little unstable. Can't disable touch until restarting the driver. Interesting. All right, what OS are you on? Because like what's wild is the Wacom Linux driver is actually pretty decent. That's because they have someone. Wacom actually has someone who works on Linux drivers for the kernel. No religion, no real place. I grow weary of these walls. So tired of it all. Dull gray and endless days. Here where evil has no face. It is hidden from my eyes. Unseen or in disguise. Welcome to a world where you always get the girl. You may lose a fight or two, but you'll win if you get through. Face up and challenge all you ever knew since you could crawl. Is looking somewhere else. I forgot to breathe. I'm just gonna fill in the background with darkness. No, screw the lyrics. Probably could use the magic wand for this, or any of the usual tools that we use for masking off like areas. Nope, too lazy. Not this time. To this space, no religion, no real place. I grow weary of these walls, so tired of it all. Sup and challenge all you ever knew since you could. Always looking somewhere else when it's all inside yourself. I wanna play until I die, don't wanna lose my reasons why. I'll keep coming back for more, keep coming back until I score. I should have done this in a different color. Let's do it in a different color. We're going to select. We're gonna lock the alpha and do it this. Full foreground. That is not super clear. Full foreground is also not very clear. How about this one? Edit the foreground. Bam. Oh, there we go. Now we can see better. Okay, now we can actually see where that stuff goes instead of having it look like more shading. Should have just used the colorized mask. Tomorrow I will be here. Oops. And I won't be the only one. Our dreams will always be here. I'm doing bad at the singing today. Just gonna stop. Unless the next song is attack music, then I'll probably sing along with that. Shouldn't have used this brush to fill in the background because now we got a lot of like inconsistently filled in space. That was definitely a mistake. Also, the stealth check text bubble. We're gonna make this a multiply. There we go. Awesome. I like that Sabina's labeled. I mean, it just looks like a random leg and a hand, right? Or it doesn't even look really like a leg. It's kind of hard to make the distinction there without it, so. I think I'm gonna skip the song in the playlist. Violet Pony is going a little bit too hard today. We should play Pacific Drive this weekend for the stream. That'd be fun. Katie used X11. Does Plasma not work on X11 at all anymore? Did they drop support for it? I think they still have support for it. Oh, lovely, good. Then on it I shall remain for now. For now. We should probably just finish up the speech bubble. Me trying to do like this stylistic like partial speech bubble thing, failing miserably. Ugh. Wrong brush. The wrong color. I mean, this is the wrong brush to be doing this with, but we're rolling with it. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can provoke some happy accidents to happen. Like, worst case, we end up with some unexpected variation in that background shading. But I think we're just going to use the shading as a mask anyway, and then, like, throw a gradient in there or something. A hand-drawn gradient. We can pull that off. There we go. Okay, we have the mask. Let's do a new group. Put that in another layer in there. We're gonna fill this with white. And we're gonna make it a multiply for the entire group. Okay, now one more layer. There we go. And now we're gonna do it's gonna like a really hand-drawn gradient going like this at a very low opacity, just to kind of fill it up with some visual noise there. I'm gonna go back in with an eraser and make it look a little bit noisier and less uniform. We can also have it look like she's casting a little bit of a shadow there. Not too much. Not too much one. Just a bit. All right, last thing to do. We gotta change that text to say passing. Oh, pass the stealth check. Duplicate this. Wait, we'll just cross it out in a higher layer. Basically doing whiteout. I gotta get a brush size. It's exactly the same as the stuff that we drew it with originally. There we go. I'll clean up the bottom layer, don't worry. We'll get rid of those eraser marks. Okay. I think we're done. I think we're done. Yeah, that was a little bit of an accident with the shadow, but... This is the nice way to end off Lesbian Visibility Week, I think. Got a nice little gag there. I'm not gonna start like another piece of art today, so we might wrap things up. You know what? Let's just play some pre-cell for the rest of the stream. Look at this this pre-cell stream. And chat for a bit. How so yeah. Pacific Drive this weekend? We can do that. That'd be fun. Pacific Drive is... looking at the game, looking at the tech tree, and just being like, God, this is gonna eat more of my hours than Factorio ever did, isn't it? I'm gonna be repairing and upgrading that stupid car for, like, how long? Open source solitaire? Yeah, it's, Isle Riot? I don't know what that name even means. But yeah, this is an open source solitaire game. It also has like a lot of different solitaire games built in. So it's not just like Free Cell and Spider. How much do you like the car? I mean, I kind of wish it were an AMC Eagle, but you know, it's cool. I kind of wanted a station wagon. Well, I want an AMC Eagle, honestly. But because like, you know, you can store stuff in it, you can sleep in it. It's really, really hard to sleep in the Jeep. I've done it before. I was driving home from a party where I was too exhausted. And I decided to just pull over on the side of the road and take a nap. And that was the correct decision, because I was not having a good time. Okay, that's probably the snake. Oh, no, there we go. So I've slept in the YJ before. It's unpleasant. I can sleep in the truck just fine. Sleeping in the truck, I would rate at a good 6 out of 10 stars. Sleeping in the YJ, we're at like 2 out of 10. Like, it's not good. Let me rate all my vehicles based on how easy it is to live out of them. Yeah, so a station wagon, you could totally, like, oh my god, you could sleep in the back of that. You could take that thing to the drive-thru, open up the back hatch, so drive-thru, the drive-in theater, open up the back hatch, and, like, watch the movies all curled up with a blanket. Oh my god, I want to do that. I wonder if Project Hail Mary is still playing at the drive-in. I still haven't seen it. I know I need to. Everyone says it's really, really good. You gotta see it. I know. At this point, I'm probably just gonna have to wait until it comes out on VHS or whatever. Maybe not VHS. I was going to do something very clever there, and then I forgot. Nope, we're leaving this here. Both the Black Queens are under here. That's rough. If we did... we put that 7 on the 8. If we put the 8 down here, but we have to get this off first, which means that we'd all be kind of locked up there. Actually, wait, that might work out. Hold on. Do this. We need somewhere for the 5 to go, which, if we just had, like, the 4 up there, then we could deal with that. The 4's all the way buried under here. Oh, wait a minute. We can get rid of that. Move that up there, move that there. There. And that's... and there's no way to get that under there. Oh, wait, we could just do this. Swap that around. Move that there, that there, that there. And now we have a space left for... One space left for maneuvering around. Blockbuster VHS rental, peak nostalgia. Yeah, well... There was like one store in my hometown that sold Laserdiscs. It was like this really, really tiny shop. It was really, really specialty kind of stuff. I went in there one time and it was like, okay, this is not for me. There was a place that was closer to us than Blockbuster that had cheaper rentals though. And it was like this, it was a little like locally owned thing in a shopping center. The problem is that they just had lower selection or smaller selection and they didn't have like newer stuff. So we would just go there and it was like, I want to find something to watch, and then, you know, we'd go to that shop and just find some low budget garbage to watch, and it was nice. It was actually nice. I want to put this onto here, but I can't. Unless we can free up like one more space. Oh wait, we can do this, and then do all that stuff that we just did over there. There we go, now I got 2 spaces free. Nice. So yeah, like, Blockbuster was like the high-end thing. Like, you want to get like the latest new movies or something that just came out on VHS, you go to Blockbuster. And it cost, like, it was expensive. It was like $4, I think, for a rental for a video, where the place nearby us, and this is not adjusted for inflation, so this is like, you know, do the mental math for that in your head, I guess. But the place nearby us would do like $1 for a video rental, so it was like way cheaper and way closer. They just didn't have the selections and stuff. We really like going to that place more. I would rent. They actually rented out entire video game consoles at Blockbuster, also. So I never owned a Sega Genesis, but I rented the Sega Genesis at Blockbuster quite a few times. Same with they had an Atari Jaguar there that they rented out, and so I actually rented the Atari Jaguar, and I played Cybermorph, and maybe, I think the 3 Atari Jaguar games that I really played were a Cybermorph, Alien vs. Predator, and Tempest 2000. Tempest 2000 is good. Tempest 2000, solid game. It's also out on PC, so... Void the Ground, is that a Cybermorph thing? I don't actually remember much of Cybermorph, except that it was a game that came with the console. Totally rented a Virtual Boy. Nice. At one point, I started doing the thing where, like, there was a point in history where, like, burnable CDs were a thing. You could rent PlayStation 1 games. The PlayStation 1 was still, like, the current system, and my friends and I all had, like, mod chips or mod packs in our PlayStations. And so we would go and, like, rent a game from Blockbuster, burn a copy of it, and then just, like, keep the copy of it forever. And play, like, pirated PlayStation 1 games on our PlayStations. I was like, this is a cool thing that we definitely want to keep doing forever. Scandalous? Yeah, well, I only did it with like 5 games or something, so whatever. I think I need to smooth out the texture here a little bit. Yeah, it's probably fine. that meme with the guy making a smart gesture. Yeah. The problem is that, like, as a child, I was usually too poor to even afford renting the games. Like, my family wasn't poor. We were pretty well off. We're, like, kind of upper middle class for the area, I guess. But, like, I didn't really have an allowance so much as just, like, I would do chores and I would be paid for the chores. So I didn't have chores, but I had tasks I could do for money around the house. Or didn't have chores or an allowance, but I had tasks I could do around the house for money, which was essentially chores and allowance. I've been secured with duct tape. I bought a brand new PlayStation when I was a kid, and it was actually after the PlayStation had been out for a while. And it was a newer PlayStation, and my neighbor had one of the older PlayStations. And there were differences between them. The newer model PlayStation did not have the port in the back anymore that the mod packs took advantage of. And I didn't want to have to deal with soldering. And so I went to my neighbor, and it's like, hey, neighbor, I will trade you a new PlayStation for your old PlayStation. Because I was going to commit piracy and stuff. And they knew that. Like, they knew what I was going to do with it. And so they went with it. It was a good deal for them because they weren't planning on doing it. And so they got a brand new PlayStation out of it. I got an older PlayStation that I could then, do the thing with. And, yeah. It had some issues, unfortunately. I tried playing Final Fantasy VIII on it, and it had some, like, issues where the reader on the CD thing couldn't actually go all the way out to the track that it needed. Oh shoot, I was just doing that in the liner loop. It couldn't, like... Wait, what was that? There we go. Yeah, the reader couldn't go all the way out to the, like, one of the tracks that it needed on the CD. So it would get through, like, one of the intro videos or something and then start, like, stalling and just get stuck there. I did manage to get past that one video that was causing the issue, and then, like, save my game, though, so it was fine. And I mean, you could also, like, swap memory cards from one system to another, so I could have just gone and played on my neighbor's brand new PlayStation in order to get past it if I wanted to. And then I ended up not playing Final Fantasy VIII, like, at all, because I don't actually like Final Fantasy that much. A little extra shading down there. Half the fun is making the thing work. Yeah, seriously. At one point, I switched to emulators, playing my PlayStation games on emulators. I played. I used Bleem. Does anyone remember Bleem? Bleem and Virtual Game Station. were like the two big commercial emulators. Bleem allowed things like hardware acceleration, so it would do the 3D rendered graphics, but like with your GPU, which was cool because you could actually play the PlayStation games at a higher resolution than they were originally played at. And then like PSXE or EPSXE, I can't remember which one. There were like open source ones, I guess, and they kind of sucked at the time, right? The ones that were juggling all the plugins and all that stuff. They had a low success rate of actually working. So Bleem and Virtual Game Station existed. Virtual Game Station, on the other hand, was super reliable, right? It was super reliable, worked all the time, didn't have any of the cool hardware acceleration features, but it was really reliable. What happened to Virtual Game Station is that Sony bought it and decommissioned it. Thanks, capitalism. This one. So it let you play PlayStation games on the PC. Became extremely popular. Sony perceived VGS as a threat and filed a lawsuit. Case was eventually closed in favor of Connectix, but Connectix was unable to sell the software in the meantime because Sony had been awarded a temporary injunction. Soon thereafter, Sony purchased VGS from Connectix and discontinued it. By then, the PlayStation 2 was nearly out, and the original PlayStation was at the end of its peak, with people looking toward the next generation consoles. Yeah, free market moment. Yeah, seriously. And then there's also Bleem. I can't remember what went wrong with Bleem, but something... they added some, like, nasty copy protection. The rest of the CD was only for copy protection and was impossible to copy by conventional means. Nevertheless, the copy protection was cracked within 2 weeks of the release. Further updates to the emulator were free until the company ceased operations several years later. Oh yeah, they shut down. Okay. And they have like comparisons here of the original PlayStation versus like emulated. And look, Sony sued them also. Although Sony ultimately did not win any of its lawsuits against them, Bleem had to shut down because of the court costs. Sony lost both the lawsuits, but still managed to bully them out of existence with court fees and like injunctions and stuff. Isn't that freaking ridiculous? Yeah. So thankfully we have EPSXE and my pledge to never buy a Sony console. Kind of like how I won't buy a new Nintendo console ever. Sony and Nintendo are both dead to me. Yep. And so is Microsoft, obviously. So that basically knocks out the big three game consoles. Thankfully, I still got my Steam Deck. Valve isn't dead to me. They're neutral to me. Which is honestly better than I can say about a lot of corporations. Switch emulators that kept getting shut down by Nintendo. I don't know why anyone would make like a Nintendo emulator or remake with and actually like attach their names to it. If you're gonna make a Nintendo remake, do this. Release it anonymously. Make sure they don't have anyone to target for, or you know, pseudo anonymously. Make a fake name or something for it. I don't know. Make it so that the lawyers don't have anyone to target. Just... yeah. Anyway, it's getting about that time. We should probably wrap up. So, let's see who's online, see who we're gonna raid. But yeah. Yeah, this is a messy time in history. The late 90s, early 00s, being a teenager at this point, and like, you know, watching all this stuff happen, because like I mean, a lot of people are nostalgic for the games at the time. Oh, Bridgewater has redeemed date. I can't leave without my buddy Superfly. But yeah, a bunch of people were like, they're nostalgic for the games of the time. They remember the tech, the PlayStation and stuff like that. But like, you don't get a whole lot of people like that. You don't talk about things like this, right? The Bleem and the Sony lawsuits and virtual game station and all that stuff. Because like, it was a means to an end, right? I grew up with this stuff. I dealt with all this. Everyone can be nostalgic for the late 90s, early 00s. And the games and stuff like that, but you have to have lived through it to remember all this crap. I remember getting this stuff to work on my computer, with like burned CDs of games and stuff. Yeah, I was a dirty pirate back then. Being real, don't commit software piracy. Just play open source games. They're all better anyway. Maybe not. I don't know. Battle for Westnoth. Great open source game. You should play it. Endless Sky. Also a great open source game. Anyway. Right. Let's kick off a raid. Used to be a single horse that vanished in the crowd. Fade just like a distant sun hidden by the cloud. Found a way to surface and to speak my truth out loud. My timing is off. Fast and proud. Alright, who's online? Who's gonna raid? I think I already know who we're gonna raid, but I'm gonna check the list anyway. Sorry, this person I haven't raided before. Nah, we're gonna raid Char. Alright, there is the raid message. Thank you everyone for joining me for another weekday morning art/dev/reminiscing about the late 90s/early 00s stream. Really appreciate having y'all here. You're all awesome and amazing. Hope to see you next time. Take it easy. Take care. Be kind. Show compassion. Show empathy. All that. All the usual stuff. Come on. You know the deal by now. Come on. Just be good people. All right. Please. There's a serious lack of that in the world right now, and you need to be the change you want to see in the world. I'm counting on all of you to do that. But yeah, and use containers if you want to, I guess. All right, goodbye everyone. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it to the end of the week. Yes, we're there. Finally. Bye. Hi, Loki. Oh yeah, I gotta get this art exported and uploaded. File exports. Let's do a BMP? No, we're gonna do a WebP.